Mr. Speaker,
Order. Kelvin Davis.
Today I have to talk about the ongoing scandal at Serco. Today I'm calling for a police investigation into the death of Nick Evans. Today the Minister of Corrections has confirmed that Nick Evans was treated at Mount Eden Prison before he was transferred up to Ngāwha. Yesterday it was all about put up or shut up, Kelvin Davis. Put up or shut up. You don't have any evidence. Well, today, Exhibit A is the Minister himself on Sean Plunkett, where he admitted exactly what he denied yesterday, that Nick Evans was treated at Mount Eden Prison before he was transferred up to Ngāwha. Now, what sort of organisation, I ask, transfers somebody who is so ill? He had a ruptured lung. Imagine the pain that man must have been in. When he got to Ngāwha, it is alleged that he was so ill he couldn't walk. It is alleged that it was just obvious he was damaged goods. What sort of organisation allows a person to be transferred for 3 or 4 hours in that sort of condition? There is no way, according to my source, there's no way that those injuries could have happened in transit, but they would have been exacerbated in transit, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, New Zealanders around the country have been horrified to learn about what's going on at Serco, and my inbox has been inundated, my text, my Facebook has been inundated with people who want to tell their story or the story of their son or daughter who have been inside under Serco. Today I'd like to reveal new details about life on the inside, given to me by a former inmate. He's one of my many sources. In fact, today at Select Committee, in fact, I tried to get answers by asking the Select Committee to invite the head of Serco to give us a briefing around his organisation. That was blocked by National, Mr. Speaker. The New Zealand First member tried to get an investigation into what's happening at Serco. That was all blocked. This is the National Party being soft on Serco. But let me tell you what I've been told today. The former inmate, he says that gang violence, and I need to say this because the Minister himself doesn't know what's going on in his portfolio and in the prisons that he's responsible for. He says, this inmate says he believes the gang violence and the droppings are isolated in 2 units primarily. The Delta unit is where the accused are on remand. He says, I've spoken to other inmates who tell me that as soon as they enter the unit, they're dragged into a cell and beaten and extorted for information about assets that they have on the outside. Alpha unit, that's the gang unit, he says, it's supposed to be the worst unit in Mount Eden. He says, I know a lot of the dangerous criminals are put into segregation units when they're not supposed to be, because segregation is for people who are vulnerable go into segregation, but he says some of the most dangerous criminals go into segregation. They don't qualify for segregation, but they put them there anyway. Charlie and Foxtrot units are both segregation units, and by all accounts they're completely safe, but the mainstream units are operated by gangs. He says the killer bees run all the gang units generally. And as soon as the door opens, they line up and drag the inmate into a cell. The main door, and I asked him, what do you mean when the door opens? He said the main door to the unit opens when new prisoners come in, and the inmate is just pushed in, and these are his words, and left to the dogs. Because it's just too unsafe for the screws to enter. They never use their takedown team, Mr. Speaker. They just let the unit run itself. Get this, Mr. Speaker, he says invariably you can hear banging all night from 2 stories below him from Delta unit, because down there the inmates are getting drunk. He goes on to explain how they actually make their alcohol, Mr. Speaker. He explains how they get drugs. He explains a whole heap of things, and this is going on in the Serco prison, where yesterday I was told to put up and shut up. Mr. Speaker, like I say, my Exhibit A was in fact the Minister today on Sean Plunkett Live, where he basically admitted everything that I alleged yesterday. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.